Anno 1971, la primavera sta per finire. Siamo a Cardiff e Pino, appena tornato da una gita scolastica, ha tra le mani il suo nuovo acquisto, quello sul quale ha investito quasi tutti gli scellini che suo papà gli aveva dato per comprare il pranzo. Stiamo parlando di un 45 giri che contiene una canzone che aveva ascoltato pochi giorni prima, Won't Get Fooled Again degli Who. Pino sale le scale, arriva in camera, poggia il disco sul giradischi e schiaccia play. Si siede sul divano e inizia a sognare. We won't get fooled again. La ascolta una, due, tre volte. Dopodiché prende la chitarra, quella che da poco sta imparando a suonare. Ci riprova una, due, tre volte, sbaglia, ci riprova. In quel momento non può neanche immaginarlo, ma 40 anni dopo riuscirà a salire sul palco e a suonare il basso con quelli che in quel momento sta venerando come fossero dei. Sì, perché Pino Palladino diventerà uno dei bassisti più importanti della storia della musica, che vanta collaborazioni con artisti come B.B. King, D'Angelo, David Gilmour, gli Who, Pino Daniele e soprattutto noi abbiamo avuto l'onore di ospitarlo sulle frequenze di Rock or Dust. Se non ci conoscessimo, sono Corrado Parlati e ti do il mio più caloroso benvenuto in questo nuovo episodio di Rock or Dust.
Non parliamo di musica per ricordare il passato. Parliamo di musica per capire chi siamo oggi, come siamo arrivati fin qui, perché certi dischi continuano a far male, anche dopo anni. Rock or Dust, se qualcosa resta, non è polvere.
I actually started off playing guitar when I was about 14, but by the time I was 17, a friend of mine suggested I try the bass guitar. He said, you'd probably be good on the bass. So I started playing the bass around about 18 years old. And I suppose the first time I realized that it would be maybe a path for the rest of my life was on a studio session, one of my first studio sessions, which was at a studio in Wales called Rockfield Studios, quite a famous studio. And I ended up doing my first session in this studio. I remember putting the headphones on and trying to play along with the track, with the drummer and the band. And I remember thinking, wow, this is so much fun. And it was very easy for me. I felt very comfortable straight away. I had a good idea what I wanted to play, and every time I tried to play something, it sounded so good in the headphones. So I guess that was the first time I decided, wow, if I could get paid to do this, this was amazing. Because my father was in the restaurant business, and I thought maybe I would be in that same business, but that's very hard work. And for me, music, I mean, obviously music is hard work too, because of all the stuff that goes with it, the traveling and the waiting and the stress and all that stuff. But for me to be able to play my bass guitar and be paid money was probably the first time I thought maybe I could do this. Yeah, for me, all the music is the same. I mean, I'm not the first person to say this, but it's the same 12 notes. We all use the same 12 notes. So for me, whatever the genre of music is, the first thing my ears listen out for is the chord sequence, maybe the harmony, and I have a good ear, so I can hear harmony, and I know already, how to find it on the bass. It's very natural for me. So for me, it's then the next thing I think of is how I can fit into the music, but also bring something of myself. So I don't want to just play on the song and play all over it and dominate it. I want to fit into whatever the mood and the musical situation is, but I also want to express something. So sometimes it could be something quite flowery, something like a flourish, like a lick or something that catches your ear. And sometimes it could be just a little move that joins up two chords,
Yeah.
But I'm always searching for ways to make the song interesting, whatever the genre. Yeah, I mean that was a crazy day because I was actually in a hotel in Philadelphia, And I had previously that week been working on a record for Common, the rapper,
Yeah.
and I was co-producing the record with him and some of my friends, Questlove and James Poyser and Jeff Lee Johnson. We were having a great time. We kind of finished the record, so I was sitting in my hotel room after we'd pretty much finished it, and I was about to fly home. I was packing my case, and I phoned my wife to say I'll be home soon, and just checking in with her. And she said, "Well, you've literally just had a call from somebody about the Who," and she said, "You might want to sit down because apparently John Entwistle has died." Um, so she told me the news, and I literally sat down on the bed and because I knew John a little bit. I wasn't a close friend, but I met him on a few occasions, and he was a real iconic rock character. Very, very funny man, very, very funny man, and also a brilliant genius musician. So I was shocked, and she said, "I've given the Who's management your phone number at the hotel, so they're going to call you." So I put the phone down. The next thing I know, I have a call from the Who's manager, and he said, "I guess you've heard the news." And I said, "Yes, I have. I just spoke to my wife." He said, "Well, I have a question for you. I need you to say yes or no." He said, "We don't have time to mess around. Can you play in the Hollywood Bowl in 3 days' time with the Who?" And I said, "Yes." I didn't really think about it. I wanted to help the guys out because I knew Pete Townsend. I'd worked with him quite a lot. So that was a big thing for me. And 2 hours later, I was flying to Los Angeles to meet with Pete Townsend, and that's how it all started. In terms of special moments, there were so many special moments. But for me, the thing I'll always remember is looking over at the left side of the stage from myself as I'm playing, and I could see Roger Daltrey spinning the microphone, dangerously.
Yeah.
And I could see Pete Townsend jumping up in the air, like 5 foot high in the air playing guitar. And I'll always remember that image in my vision. I was pinching myself when I was playing live with the Who sometimes because I bought Won't Get Fooled Again when I was maybe 15 years old. I went on a school trip, and my father gave me maybe a few shillings of money to buy some dinner. So we
Mhm.
took a bus on a school trip and we went to Stratford-on-Avon, which is a place where William Shakespeare was born. We did an educational trip. The money was supposed to be for me to buy a sandwich or something, but the first thing I did was go into a record store and I bought Won't Get Fooled Again, the single, because I heard it a few days before and I thought, oh my God, I could buy this with this money. I don't need to eat. So it was yeah, that's what I remember. So for me to go from that young child to actually being on stage with these guys and being a part of the band for 14 years, incredible. Oh man, everything was special with Pino. I love Pino so much. We really connected on that album. I think that's the first time I met him actually. We had been recording in Carimate. There was a studio in Carimate, north of Milan. We did an album there with Paul Young. And the engineer, Alan Goldberg, he used to run that studio. He was the manager of the studio too. And just before I finished the album with Paul Young, he said, Pino Daniele is coming to you to record soon. And he was asking me about you. And I said, well, please count me in. I want to be involved in that record. Um, I knew Pino's albums from previously, and for me, it was always very impressive that an Italian artist from Naples had Alfonso Johnson and Steve Gadd and all these incredible players were going to Italy to play on his record. And I think he was one of the first Italian artists to make an impression on other musicians around the world. Um,
Yeah.
so he really, for me, that was when I first met Pino, I thought, oh my God, this guy's played with Steve Gadd, Alfonso Johnson, all these guys are incredible. And we connected very quickly musically. His voice, such a beautiful voice, man. And funky guy, you know. He had I feel like the music in Naples sometimes reflects some North African music, you know, because of all the movement of nations through history. And I could hear a lot of things in Pino's music that really intrigued me. Some of that, as I say, North African stuff and different scales he would play. Um, so yeah, just a brilliant, brilliant artist, and I feel blessed that I got to work with him. Playing with D'Angelo was probably my favorite thing musically experienced that I experienced musically through my career. We met on a session for BB King, and you know, he didn't know anything about me, and I knew very little about him, but we connected musically. Yeah, we didn't need to speak. And I'll always remember that first day that we played together, and when he sang, uh, I knew what to play on the bass. There was some kind of special thing that happened, and the combination of the bass and the voice, and that led to a future playing with D'Angelo on many records, and well, only two records because he only made two records after that, but a lot of live work. So that's a very special moment. Um, I would have to say, playing with BB King, actually. For me, that was enough. Even if I didn't meet D'Angelo, to play on a record for BB King for me was that was a huge moment for me because I love the blues and BB King. Where I come from in Cardiff in South Wales, it's very big for R&B and blues, like old style R&B and blues, for me to actually be able to play with BB and talk to him and hang around with him. I'll never forget that. And another moment would be, playing with Herbie Hancock, because, I'm such a fan of Miles Davis and Herbie and Wayne Shorter, all those guys, that incredible era of music where they were pushing boundaries. And I got to record with Herbie a few times, and also I got to do a tour with him. So for me, very special moment was playing the bass on stage with Herbie Hancock. The first time I played with Herbie on stage, I didn't have a rehearsal because I was filling in for another bass player. So the first time we really played on stage was a song called Actual Proof, which is quite a challenging song. So I remember playing the bass line with Vinny Colaiuta on drums and looking across the stage and seeing Herbie playing the piano, looking at me and thinking, oh my God, I'm really in it now. This is really happening.
Very special moments. And
Absolutely. That's a very interesting question, because I don't think rock survives in the way that I think of rock. Like for me, when I think of rock, I think of Led Zeppelin. I think of Free, the British band Free. And then I think of progressive rock, like Yes, and then the kind of spacey rock, like Pink Floyd. All these bands, I don't know what's the equivalent of something like that anymore. I'm trying to think now. I mean, The Who, of course, they rock like no other band. That's the real essence of rock music. And now I think rock is split into so many different genres. There's what people would call heavy metal, which probably goes back to the days of Black Sabbath. But if you listen to Black Sabbath, they're kind of funky too. They're not just, like crazy heavy metal. They have a funky sound, So what would be the equivalent now? Metallica, bands like that. But there's probably some newer bands, like British bands like Muse.
yeah,
I think they've really made a huge impression. I'm trying to think of what other. Yeah, I don't think it's like. I think the genres have kind of much more mixed up nowadays, because you could hear a rock band, but they would probably play some jazz chords or some prog chords, or maybe do like a funky slap bass thing in a rock band. So it's all a little bit more mixed up, I think, and homogenized. Yeah, it still means everything to me. It keeps me interested in my life, and I'm still searching. I guess I'm still searching musically. I'm still intrigued by harmony, chord structure, rhythm, especially, rhythm. It's more interesting to me than anything else that I've encountered in my life. So, for me, it's everything. I just love music. It keeps me who I am.